Let's say hello to another person who had a great performance. Maycee Barber is here. How great is this? Hello, Maycee. How are you?
Good. How are you?
We like to just have people walk in. We don't take commercial breaks on this show. You probably know that already. You could bring the microphone right over there to you. Oh, it's okay. We have those things. Thanks for coming, Maycee.
My fixture.
Thank you. That's my Cain Velasquez toy.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's great to have you here. Welcome to Bristol, Connecticut, ESPN.
This is neat.
First time?
Yes, this is my first time. We actually drove here from Boston.
What do you think?
It's beautiful here. I mean, the trees and the leaves, they're all changing. So I think it's a great time to come out.
It's like a sports wonderland. You see how big this campus is?
Oh my gosh, this place is
all the stuff?
huge. It's phenomenal.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you doing this. And in fact, I was nervous about your, I don't root for people to win. You know, I think that's inappropriate. But your dad is a very smart guy, and I enjoy working with him, and, you know, he helps me get in contact with you. He reached out to me like a month and a half or 2 months ago, once your fight was announced, said, hey, we're going to be in the area. Can Maycee come after the fight? And I was like, yeah, for sure, but don't we have to have the fight for, like, what if you lose? You know, things could happen. Complete confidence. Like, you guys booked this, you were in, you knew.
We talked about it, and we were like, well, we're going to be, like, really close, so might as well go out there. And I don't book a fight planning on losing.
Sure.
So when I book a fight, I plan on winning. So.
And then we saw your gloves afterwards. You wrote 8-0, or someone wrote it. Who wrote that?
I did.
You wrote that.
Yep.
Okay.
I always write kind of something that I started, but I write on my hands and I write on my wraps and my gloves.
Okay. What do you usually write, or just like whatever your?
It's kind of whatever comes to my mind when I'm sitting there. I don't have it all planned out, but it's usually when I have house wrapping my hands, I start to think of some things, or I just grab a Sharpie from someone and I'm like, I just start writing on my hands. And I knew that I wanted to put 8-0 and that I'm staying undefeated on one of my hands, but then on the hand that I actually broke, I like put a cross on it, and I was like, all right, I gotta put a little extra love into this hand because, you know, I want to come out of this fight uninjured. So it worked.
How is it now?
It's great. I mean, it feels great, and I came out of that fight uninjured, so I'm super happy.
Were you nervous about that?
I was. I think that was one of the biggest things I was nervous for, but I felt relieved after the fight. Was just, you know, I didn't want to come out and not be able to go back to the gym, so that was one of the biggest things. Was the next morning I woke up and I'm like, man, I could go back to the gym tomorrow. This feels amazing. Yeah.
Well, like in the camp, were you thinking about it a lot?
No, I wasn't necessarily.
That was the first injury of your career, right? Like the first time you had surgery?
Yeah, that was the first surgery of my career, yes. The fight before that, I had partially torn my knee. So I came from one injury to the next, so to be able to come out clear was good.
Jillian was on a bit of a roll, and I also feel like this was the first time, and correct me if you feel otherwise, where like, I don't think like the trash talk was intense, but she was very confident as well. And you know, she was feeling herself as she should have been. She was coming off a nice win. Like it felt like this represented a step in your career, right? Like the next chapter, you were fighting a different level of opponent, and this was the kind of opponent who was going to maybe give you the toughest test of your career. Did you listen to any of the things that she said? Did you feel that from her? And were you using that as motivation going into this fight?
I definitely was using it as motivation, but I didn't really play into it because I don't want to give people the credit. For that.
Okay.
I feel like I talk a lot of crap and I do a lot of that, but I don't necessarily play into everyone else's. You know, I feel like it should be, you know, I don't want to give them any advantage whatsoever. So kind of ignoring it was the route I took. And I had a lot of people always sending me stuff. They're like, oh, did you see she sent you this? She sent this. She posted this. And I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to train. So on one hand, I do go out and I post a lot of stuff on social media, but at the same time, I also ignore everything on social media. So I go on, do my business, and then I get out.
Okay. You don't read comments and things like that?
No.
You don't check on her?
Nope.
At all?
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't even watch her film for this fight.
Really?
Yep.
Is that a common thing?
You know, the reason why I do it is because I obsess over people and I obsess over the fight. So the way I look at it is if I go on and I watch her film and I expect someone to kind of treat a fight like I treat it. You know, if I go out and I watch film, I'm expecting them to fix every mistake that they made in her previous fight. So if I go and watch the film myself, I'm going to be looking for things that she's done in the past in that fight. So I don't want to be relying on something that she's not going to show if she's constantly improving. So I kind of leave that up to my team and my coaches to find out the habits that she continuously does over all of her fights, and then come and present those to me, and then we'll pick up and train off of those. But I don't want to obsess over something that could or could not be shown in the fight.
But like you're sitting, you're in bed, you're trying to go to sleep. Let me pull out YouTube and
I won't sleep.
Really?
I won't sleep if I do that.
Okay.
I'll start to think about it. I picture the fight in my head and I replay it in my own head, and I actually like play the fight out.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, this scenario. And some nights, like I'll lay in bed and the fight will be perfect, and I'll like see it clearly of like how I would win or how I can win or how each round would go. And then other nights it's like I'll play the fight in my head and I'll actually have to work for the finish, or I'll have to like work through a scenario rather than just going out and just completely dominating. So it's like I fight that fight over and over and over in my head every single night all the way up until the fight. So yeah, if I lay in bed and I start to watch film, then I'm going to really have a hard time falling asleep.
Does defeat ever enter your mind? Is there ever that one time? There
is not a single night that I laid in bed and my hand wasn't raised at the end of the night, at the end of the fight.
Right.
I may have had to work a little bit harder in my head to get that win, but it was always I come out winning.
Were you always like? I wish your confidence is so impressive. Like the little thing with your dad booking you to come here, writing that, and I'm not trying to say that you're the only confident fighter in the UFC. This is something we've seen from a lot of the greats, right? They almost like will these things into existence, and they talk about how they're going to do X, Y, and Z. Like we saw with Adesanya recently, he's talked about doing X, Y, and Z, and he's done it all. Where does that come from? Is that just something that you were born with? Like, were you, like as a 3-year-old, were you this confident? As a 7-year-old, as an 8-year-old, or is this something that you worked on? I
think I'm a pretty outspoken person, but in terms of the confidence, I've said this on multiple interviews before, it comes from a lot of the hard work that we put in. It's not just me that puts in the work. It's my team, my family, my coaches, but it's all work. It's...
You just know you're ready.
I just know I'm ready. Yeah. I came into that fight. I wasn't even nervous into this last fight. I had it a few times during the camp, but I just came into this feeling really confident in where I was and just I was ready, So it's hard to and I don't let doubt enter my mind if I know that I'm going into a fight. Like you have to be, and my first coach told me this, Ryan Schultz. He told me you have to be your cheerleader. You're your own cheerleader and you're your biggest fan, because at some point in your life you're always gonna have people who are trying to shoot you down, and if you're not your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader, then who is, So, yeah, that's kind of where the confidence comes from. Is I used to beat myself up every once in a while, and once he told me that, I was like, no, never again, because I have to be on my side all the time.
So you had Duke Rufus and the rest of the team there from Rufus Sport in your corner. Is this the team now? Because I feel like you've been around. I
have been. Everybody's like, you've been jumping from gym to gym.
Yes.
And
was this your first time with them?
This was my first full camp at Rufus Sport, and honestly, I'm happy with where I'm at.
How did you end up there?
How did we moved to Wisconsin to train with Ben Askren. We
moved to Wisconsin.
I did.
I moved. Family?
Yep, we moved it last November.
Wow.
And then right as soon as I got my last fight, so against JJ Aldrich, I jumped back because I didn't have my heart fully set in Wisconsin yet.
Right.
So I got offered the fight. I went right back to Colorado, did my camp there, and then I had the surgery, and that was when I could kind of sit down and I was like, all right, now I have time to think about it. I should probably give another camp a chance. And you look at all the credentials that they have at that team, and it's like, why would I not give this camp a chance, right? So I did, and I couldn't be happier. Duke Rufus is phenomenal. Ben Askren, everybody at Rufus Sport, it's just an amazing team. And I came into this fight feeling 100% ready and feeling like there was no question in my mind of anything. Like I wasn't concerned about any position. I wasn't thinking about like, well, what if she does this? What if she does this? I was ready. So I can't wait to have another camp just like that. And yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at.
How far do you live from Milwaukee?
I'm kind of in between. I'm like 15 minutes away.
Oh,
I was going to say I'm kind of in between here and there, but I can't really explain it because you probably wouldn't know.
No. But so wait, did you like your siblings move as well?
My whole family moved. We moved.
Just for you?
My brother as well.
Okay.
My brother's 18.
Train there too.
Wyatt Barber. He had his first fight, so he's actually going to fight again soon. I think November 22nd.
Pro?
Amateur, I believe. Maybe pro.
Okay. Wow.
We'll
how did the first one go?
It went good. He got that first fight out of the way. He got a first round finish.
Okay.
Yep, he did. He won. I was in his corner and I cried.
Wow.
So it was very emotional for me.
So were you probably more nervous for that than your own fight? Just watching him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I can't even imagine what my family goes through, but it's hard for me to watch people that I know care about, and especially my brother. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't go in there. You can't do anything for them.
Sure,
so it's
sure.
like you're very helpless, and you can't like throw a strike. You can't change a position. You can't, it's hard.
So you mentioned Ben Askren. It seems like perhaps he's taken you under his wing a little bit. I didn't know that you guys were working together. Then I kind of went back and looked, but I was talking to him after the fight, and I'm wondering if any of his fight promotion skills has rubbed off on you a little bit. Has he talked to you about the art of, he's great at this, right? No
He
secret.
has. Yeah, we've talked
Has he
a lot
talked to you about
it.
the psychology, behind how to build your career, call out the right people, make some headlines? Do you speak to him about that stuff?
We have. So I feel like I'm pretty smart as it is, but he's added a lot to that. It's like we were texting back and forth all day yesterday, all day today of like, all right, well, think about what you're going to say, and here's this, and who you're going to call out, and who's this. And we talked about different people, but at the same time, we were also talking about how I'm not afraid to fight any of these girls. So that was kind of like the biggest thing. But yeah, in terms of fight promotion, like he's taught me a lot, and just being able to speak with someone who has that kind of mentality is like just listening to someone like that talk. I pick up a lot. So
this is your first time working with him?
Yes, I did this camp with him as well. Yeah.
Have you done the disc golf in his house?
No, I haven't, but I've been to his house several times, and he took me around and showed me the whole course. It's neat. I've actually never played disc golf, so I might have to.
Me neither. It's an actual course in his backyard?
Yeah, he has like the whole thing set up.
Wow.
It's
amazing.
Crazy, yeah.
So obviously the big headline after the fight. And by the way, were you okay with the stoppage? You thought it was just? I saw some people say, "Oh, it was a little too soon." I mean, obviously you're happy with it, but what did you think?
I've heard a lot of people saying that it was stopped too soon, and then I've heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, Maycee Barber always gets these early stoppages." I mean, if you look at the last 3 fights that I've had, Hannah Cyphers, that was not an early stoppage. JJ Aldrich, that was not an early stoppage, and same thing with Jillian. I mean, that was not an early stoppage. I mean, you could say it's an early stoppage if you want to let her have some more brain damage, but there was no getting out of that, and it was only going to get worse from there. So why let them take that much trauma? She's 24 years old. She's got a whole career ahead of her.
Right.
And if I was on the receiving end, I wouldn't want to be hit by me any more than she did. So I think it was a fine stoppage.
So 21 now, right?
Yes.
You're 21. We actually did a thing last week, top 25 under 25 fighters in MMA. Did you see this? I don't remember where did Maycee end up? I think you ended up
I was 6.
Six.
I was very salty.
Yeah, were you upset? Were we wrong about that? Should you have been number one?
Well, I think you guys should change it now that you've seen that last fight. But
I mean, we can't change it every week, but where should you have been going into that fight? Do you think number one?
I mean, I truly believe I am number one.
Okay.
I looked at those numbers and I saw Sean O'Malley and I was like, where is he? Like, where is he? Like, I haven't seen him fight in how long, and I'm below him. So I don't know.
Okay.
I thought I should have been up there.
All right.
But yeah, I definitely should be up there now.
Do we have the clock? How far away is she from the milestone that she's trying to reach? Do we have this, Corporate Jake? There it is. Countdown to January 15, 2022. 817 days away to become the youngest champion in UFC history. Are we on track still?
We are.
Yeah?
I'd say so, wouldn't you?
I kind of feel like it's going a little quicker than I thought.
Yeah?
Right?
I mean,
So
I couldn't be happier with that number. I mean, knowing that that's how long I have. And
Did you know that?
I
If would
didn't
have asked
know.
you?
No, I didn't have the days.
You don't have it on your phone anymore?
I do, but it's in like years and months. And
Oh, okay. So there it is, 817 away. Wouldn't it be amazing if you get it in like 300 days and we can revert back to this, that you broke it by like 500 days?
yeah, I mean, to crush
This is
that
a
record
moment
would
right
be
here.
even better. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be great.
What do you think? What's your prediction now? You're not going to go down to the wire, right?
No.
How far away do you think you are?
I could see it in the next year or so.
Next year, like this time next year, you have fought for the belt?
I would like to, yeah.
Okay. So how many fights is that? How many more fights?
I don't know. I think like that's probably like 2 or 3.
Okay. I feel like we need to stick to 125. Like I heard you talking about 115. If you bounce up and down, I feel like we get off the train a little bit, right?
I kind of actually
The
disagree.
tracks, I meant.
Only because I feel like as long as you're a consistent fighter and you're still staying in the talk of the fans and you're staying consistent, you're keeping the wins, I think you're fine, you know?
Okay.
But I mean, right now I'm happy with 125. and I plan on fighting the next one at 125. We'll see about 115. You know, that's all up to the Performance Institute as well, because they're the ones that have been helping me with this whole journey of going back.
You go there? You go to Vegas?
Performance Institute? Yeah, I've after every fight, I go there for at least a week.
Okay.
I usually book the trip out like right away.
Okay.
Whether I'm healthy or not, like that's a phenomenal place to go and get physical therapy, to get the nutrition, the diagnostics, like everything. And it's free. I mean, as an athlete, why wouldn't you take advantage of that? You know, they're only trying to help you, and they have an amazing team out there. And so I go out there after every fight, and then usually I'll book a trip every like 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
Go out there and make like a couple days.
So after the fight, of course, you talked about Paige. Let's go.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone.
She disconnected her line though.
Oh, she did? What are you talking about? Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure she did.
Are the UFC brass into this?
I'm sorry, what?
Are the UFC, like, does the UFC want this fight as well, to the best of your knowledge?
As far as I know, yeah, we all want it.
Everyone wants
Everyone wants it except for Paige.
Okay, so...
which is understandable.
Paige was sitting in this chair a couple months ago, as you may know.
I know.
I asked her about you.
Yes.
I want to play the clip for those that may have missed it, and then we'll get your reaction to it, okay? Yes. Here's Paige VanZant just a couple of months ago on this program talking about Maycee. By the way, Maycee Barber, taking shots, huh?
Yeah, always.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's just part of the division. Of course, everybody wants the money fight, and there's just there's people in line. So,
are you interested in that fight?
I definitely think it's an interesting fight. I do think that there's certain disrespect in the UFC and in MMA gets too much attention, and it gets too much validity.
Disrespect.
Being disrespectful.
Okay.
Yeah, being a disrespectful person should not be valued.
Gotcha.
And I won't.
Okay.
I won't give her the time of day.
You're not taking the bait.
No, I'm not going to take the bait.
Okay.
And that's why I've stayed relatively silent the entire time. I actually was going to say yes to the fight, and then I think it's completely inappropriate to slide into somebody's husband's DMs.
Wait, what?
Try to get a fight.
She did that?
Yes. So
tell us the story.
No, there's no story. That's it.
Wait. You just.
That's it. Just messaging my husband on Instagram.
Wow.
I don't know.
Trying to
get at me. Trying to
you?
get I'm sure she's trying.
Is she talking smack in the DMs?
No,
No,
but
she wanted to know a workout routine.
I was like, hey, could you send me that workout that you're doing? And
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
like just something weird. Anyways.
Yeah.
Do you think she? And was this in the midst of her calling you out?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you respond?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I've stayed relatively quiet about this.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know what? I'm not going to reward disrespectful people.
Wow.
And it would be a reward for her to fight me, and she doesn't deserve it.
Okay. So a lot there. What do you think of all that?
So first of all, how many times did she stutter in that whole bit right there? And in terms of disrespect, gosh, if I didn't like someone and I thought they disrespected me, I would really want to beat them up. And I've said this before.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she can't beat me up is why she's trying to come up with an excuse. That's my opinion. In terms of the DMs, I think that was just like that was like her only grab at an excuse to not.
Did that really happen?
Did I really slide into the
Yeah.
DMs? Yeah, and it was exactly what Austin said. It was for a workout video. I remember sitting with my coach. We were looking at like different workout videos, and it just so happened to be his Instagram. I didn't even pay attention. I just sent a message. I was like, "Hey, can I get that video?" Like, I didn't even think anything of it because
How long ago was this?
I couldn't even tell you.
Was this in the midst of
I
this
couldn't
back
even
and
tell you,
forth?
and I honestly no.
Okay.
Not that I know of, but I even went back and tried to find that DM because I was going to screenshot it and send it to you. They deleted it. So there's no way to prove that unless they have it. Then she could totally go and post it. Like, go for it. I don't care. Post the DM.
What you posted on, I think we have it. That was a joke. What you posted.
It
on
was a
yours?
complete joke. I was just mocking her because I thought that was hilarious. Some guy sent me a
right
DM. Yep.
Okay.
Someone sent me a DM, and so I screenshot it and then I switched it and I put his Instagram handle at the top.
You're very crafty. You did this all on your own?
Yeah, it was like took me like 2 minutes and I
Really?
laughed my butt off about it.
Now, what is this DM that someone is sending you here?
I don't know. Someone sent me a DM just saying. I mean, they sent their dog, and then they were
Okay.
like, "Hey, come back
Oh,
here."
I get it. I
Get
get
it?
You
Yeah.
get that a lot?
I thought it was pretty clever. I thought it was
kinda clever.
hilarious.
Wow. So when you posted that, did they respond to you at all? Did they say this is not true? Did they get mad, or have they ignored you since?
Paige?
Yeah,
No,
Paige
they've
or
ignored
Austin.
me.
Okay.
Which is fine. I mean, the other thing that I was gonna say is, Gosh, I lost what I was saying. Something about her being disrespectful or me being disrespectful.
She said you've been disrespectful.
She said I was being
doesn't wanna take the
disrespectful,
bait.
and that's she didn't want to take the bait. How did she not take the bait? She took the bait. Did she not take the bait?
Well, I will admit, I feel like most people now want to see the fight because of the disdain that she has.
I mean,
for
she
you.
spoke my name and she talked about our little controversy here.
Yeah.
So I feel like she gave me the time of day and she kind of took the bait and
Right.
she created a story that a lot of people now want to see, because it's like the battle between the two girls. They're having some beef. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Now, where does this beef come from? Why her?
I mean, at first it was really just a fight that I really wanted.
You just viewed her as another.
I just,
notch on the-
she's got a big following.
Right.
She's got she has all of like the social media and the fans that a lot of people want to see. And then the way I look at it is, and I've said this before, she didn't hold up her end of the deal. She came into the UFC and the UFC backed her and they gave her all of this support and built her as an athlete. And they viewed her as, okay, here's a girl who's beautiful and she's talented and she's well spoken and she has all these things and we think she can fight, right? So they built her up. Well, she didn't hold her end of the deal. She didn't continue to evolve as a fighter, and instead she fell into the fame and which is great for her if that's the path she wants to take. But I view it as someone, I'm like, that girl's so beatable. She doesn't even belong in the position in the UFC that she's in because there are so many other girls out there like me who work our butts off day in and day out, and I would maul her. So I want to take that from her. I want to go out there.
She's afraid of fighting you?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. She wants nothing to do with you.
Yes. Absolutely. She does not want to fight.
She has one fight left on her deal.
Yeah.
Right. She said on the show that she makes more money posting on Instagram from sponsors, ads than fighting in the UFC. So do you feel like she just may never come? Like you won't get this fight because of that?
I mean, I think the only reason why I wouldn't get this fight is if she decided to retire from fighting.
Okay.
And then I feel like right there is where her social media and her ability to continue to grow on Instagram and make more money kind of stops. It kind of plateaus because the reason why she's that high of a profile person is because of what she's done with the UFC. So without that, without fighting and doing what she was originally doing, I mean, I think that people are going to eventually kind of be like, all right, well, she was there and now she's gone. So she didn't hold up her end of the deal, and I think it's kind of where it ends.
Have you ever met her?
I have. I met her one time when I was on the Contender Series, and I found the same card as Austin, which is, again, is another reason why I thought sliding into the DMs would be okay, because they sent me through Instagram. They actually sent me a message first. They sent me a picture because Paige took a picture of my team. So I was like, oh, all right, we're fine. Like, yeah, I want to fight you. I know that we want to go back and forth, but I thought we were all right.
Okay.
So
She thinks you were like creeping on her husband, and that's why she doesn't like you?
I think that was her only excuse. She knows I'm not creeping on her husband. I don't want her husband. She can have him.
So has the UFC offered you to her?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it several times. We
Okay.
tried to get her to fight me. I offered to fight her when Rachel couldn't fight. But Rachel was able to fight, so obviously I let that go. I was like, okay,
Right.
Rachel's fine. She's good. But we've tried several times. When I went in the back and I talked with Dana, and he was like, well, how about Paige? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we
This
found
time?
out she was injured.
Oh, okay. Last time.
Yep. And then
Okay.
we found out she was still injured, had to have surgery, so we kind of...
Did you talk to them on Friday about this fight?
I've been nonstop talking to them about getting Paige.
Okay. And what do
Yeah.
they say?
They're working on it. I think they're working on it pretty hard, so
Okay.
we'll see.
Now, let's just say worst case scenario, if you can't get Paige, is there anyone else that, I mean, you're good at calling people out and knowing what you want.
There's a few names. We've looked at the rankings, and there's several girls, but honestly, anyone in the rankings, I'm not afraid to fight any of them. So bring it on.
Okay. Do you feel like the rest of the weight class right now is not quite, I feel like the gap between Valentina and the rest of the weight class is the biggest as far as any weight class in the UFC. You know what I mean? Like, she is just that much better than
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I completely agree.
Okay.
I completely agree. That's a valid statement. She is a dominant champion, and then kind of the rest of the division is pretty wide open.
Yeah. So do you feel like by the time you make it to this date, whenever you're going to break this record that John Jones said, that she'll still be the champion? Like, there's no one out there, even if she fights 3-4 times, that can give her a tough fight?
I think so.
You probably want that, right? You want to be the one to beat her.
Yeah, why not? I mean, she's getting older, and I'm continuously getting better. And yeah, I mean, as far as other women coming up, I haven't seen any really. I don't know if there's any in any other promotions that could potentially be signed, but I haven't done too much extra research.
What do you think of her last fight?
Against, was it Liz Carmouche?
Yeah.
I thought that was a smart fight for her to fight because, you know, she's, as a champion, you're not supposed to go out there and just like try to fight the other person. You know, they're supposed to bring the fight to you, and they're supposed to try to take the belt from you, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought the fight that she fought was very smart in the sense of, you know, just keeping herself composed and not putting herself in a bad position. But Liz never really tried to go after her and take that fight from her. So as from like a fan's perspective, I think they could have been like, oh, well, that was a boring fight, that was bad, you know. But for me, I'm like, wow, that was a smart move on her team and her play, right?
Do you feel like the fans get uncomfortable when a woman talks trash like you do? Like that they feel like, oh, that's a man thing to do, and the female fighters shouldn't act like that. They shouldn't talk trash. Do you think they like that or dislike that? Do you get the sense, like, do you get heat? Because I notice, like, when I say that you're on the show, people are like, oh, she's big mouth and all this stuff. She thinks that she's so great. Do you get a lot of hate for that? As much as people may like it, do you also find that you get a lot of hate for it as well?
I think the higher up you become on social media, or the bigger person or bigger name that you become, the more hate you're going to have that follows that. From other fighters, some of them are going to like it, some of them are going to hate it. In terms of women, I think a lot of the female fighters feel like like, for example, Jillian, she was like, her mouth gets her a lot of places. Mm. I think the reason why a lot of women say that is because they can't do it. Mm. So I think it's a little bit of, I don't know if it's jealousy or what, but I think it comes from an uncomfortable position from them. But everyone's different, you know. Like, some people can do it, some people can't, and it's just it's what they are, you know. It's their own personality, sure. And I think it's something that the 120 all the women's divisions need, actually. They need kind of like that bad guy or the bad girl. So I think I kind of fill that role, and I like doing it because it's something I enjoy, and I like causing a little bit of drama, and it's more entertainment for me, you know. Like, I do have a genuine like enjoyment for the banter back and forth, and for the making people feel uncomfortable. So yeah.
Were there people you watched or still watch, like, as inspiration? Like, are there people that you're like, that guy or that girl knows how to do it right? Like the trash talk, building up a fight. Are there people you admire?
Yeah, there's bits and pieces. You know, there's like bits and pieces from Conor McGregor, from Ben, from like a lot of different athletes. You know, there's just some clever things that they say, but it's kind of hard to like repeat them because you don't want to necessarily repeat them, but you're like, okay, I could take that, put it in my back pocket, and save that for another day.
Maybe inspiration. Yeah, on how to be kind of,
or more confidence.
Right. Like, that's the key thing.
Yeah, is also, you know, when you listen to a lot of these guys, you're like, all right, they're not afraid to say what they want. And the way to view it is, I shouldn't be either, because at the end of the day, all I really want to do is build a successful career and make money and build this as big as I can. And in turn, that's going to help the UFC. That's going to help me. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Do you feel like you're getting a lot of love from sponsors and stuff now? Are you getting a lot of attention? Are people jumping on the bandwagon?
I am, but I could always use more. You know, I'm working on a few deals, but I'm definitely open to getting some more. Now,
what is it like? You know, you're very close to your dad. Mm-hmm. Your dad's not in your corner, though, right?
He's not. He was in the back with me, though.
Right. So, I mean, this is an interesting thing, having a parent by your side throughout the career. I'm sure it could get stressful at times. Sometimes, you know, the parents are sitting off in the stands, not in the locker room, or helping to manage the career. What is that like for you?
It's a lot. I actually had my entire family out with me. So for this fight, I even had my sister fly out. But my family's very close, you know, and so some days I feel good and I can talk to them, and then other days I'm like, man, I just need a little bit of breathing space, just because I don't want to necessarily feel like some of the pressure, even though they're like, there's no pressure, you know, it's you, and we support you 100%. But at the same time, I'm like, you always want to make your parents proud.
Sure.
You always want to make your family proud. So I know the sacrifices that they put into me, and I know the effort that they put in, and that's always kind of in the back of my head. So that's why it gets hard sometimes. But I wouldn't want it any other way. You know, I mean, I had my brother. He was the biggest training partner I had for this entire camp. And we were actually riding over from the hotel to the venue, and he put a post up on Instagram, and it was saying how for the first time ever he was not nervous, and he's like the biggest one that gets the most nervous out of everybody in my family. And he put this post up, and he's like, all the nights that you elbowed me in the head and all the days that we went and had pokey together. And he like made this whole long post, and I'm sitting in the bus on the way to the venue, and I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm like, it's a very big and close family thing for me. And it's honestly something that I will treasure forever.
It's a very common thing in boxing. Like you often see a father coaching or cornering his son, his boxing son. Not as much in MMA.
Lomachenko's like that.
Yeah. And there's been tons. Garcia, but there's not as much in MMA. And I'm wondering if you feel like this, like, do you want at some point, do you think it won't be the case? Do you feel like this is just good for now because you're so young, you're early in your career, or do you feel like this could be the way it will go for the rest of your career? Because towards the end, you don't see it as much in MMA. Like I know a lot of fighters who started off with the dad in their corner, but then for some reason or another, it kind of, they separate. I'm not trying to will that upon you.
No,
guys. I think
you're
it's
good.
a great thing. But do you feel like this is good now because you're so young and just figuring things out, but at some point it would be better for you to go off on your own?
No, I don't think. I think as time goes on, we'll get a little bit not farther away, but like I'll kind of get a little more space. Like I moved out, I have an apartment, and I like have my own space in terms of that. But if there ever comes a day where my family's not in my corner, it'll be by their choice, not mine, because
Interesting.
we're just so close, and I really want them there, and that's something that I hope is there forever, and I can't see them ever leaving my corner either. So it's kind of like it's an unsaid desire.
Unspoken.
Unspoken desire for both of us to just continue that relationship forever.
It's like clockwork. Every time you fight, I'll get like 3 or 4 messages from managers. Who manages Maycee? Is this still her dad? Like everyone, they're like sharks. You know that,
I know.
right?
Everybody's like, oh man, her dad's her manager.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, that's a good team, because if I didn't have, and this is probably not something a lot of managers want to hear, but if I didn't have my dad as a manager, I don't know if I'd have a manager, because I feel like my parents have raised me well enough to know and be smart about it. And I surround myself with a lot of good people. And obviously my dad's a part of that. And so I think that him and I make a great team together. And it's not just him, it's me too, but he's the big part in it, you know? And I know that if my dad wasn't like the management, like had that title as manager, I could always go back to him and be like, Dad, I need your help.
Okay.
You know, and even without my dad, like my mom's there too, you know, and she's there as well. So, it's a family thing, and I'm not looking for a manager.
Okay, there you have it. So that was...
Sorry, all the managers out there.
they're going to keep trying, no doubt about that. So that was your 3rd fight in the UFC. Is there one more on the fight contract? Usually it's 4 fights to start off? Or?
So I signed from the Contenders. I had 2 fights, and then we already renegotiated. So I'm back. That was my first fight back on my new contract.
Oh, look at you.
Yep. So I have another one, and then we'll probably renegotiate.
You like the current deal?
I do. Yeah, I'm happy.
Or are they getting a discount? Do you feel like you should be getting more? What do you think?
I feel like, honestly, I feel like I could take a little more, but
yeah.
It helped with my training.
Also, where's that confidence?
It would help with my training.
Yes.
Honestly, I feel like I'm underpaid in the sense of I would like to be able to afford and pay for better coaching and better training and nutrition and like all of that. That's really what all my show, my win, everything goes towards, is I'm just investing back in myself. So if you invest in me, you're investing back into the athlete. You're not investing into fancy cars and diamond rings and all these crazy things. I truly want to be the best in the world, and I need, that takes money. That takes sponsors, that takes money, that takes effort, and that's why I feel like getting paid more would just truly help me out more.
By the way, if the Paige fight doesn't materialize for whatever reason, what do you think of you versus Valentina Shevchenko? Kind of like, I haven't seen anyone kind of target the sister to get to the other sister. You know what I mean? What do you think of that idea?
That was a conversation between Ben and I, and he was actually kind of like...
Okay, I'll admit, I stole that from Ben. He told me that.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, yeah, I totally stole that from Ben. He said this exact same thing to me. If we can't get Paige, she should go after the sister.
Yeah. That's what he told me. He's like, you should go after this one, and then if you get this one, then you could be like, all right, this is your preview. And I was like, that's very smart, and I agree
Why
with
didn't
that.
you say
100%.
that when I teed you
I
up
agree with
earlier?
it. Well, because I also feel like I'll fight any of them.
Okay.
Like I don't need to necessarily pick out just one.
Okay.
I'm fine with picking out multiple people. Because I know at the end of the day, like we're gonna all have to make a decision together, and I don't really have any like fears of fighting any of them. So,
Okay.
but yeah, in terms of
Antonina.
Antonina
Antonina.
Shevchenko. Yeah, fighting her would be just like, kind of like a, hey, I'm coming, and this is
Right. That's
this
not
is what's
bad.
coming for you,
I kind of like
Valentina.
that.
Yeah. I would like that too.
Yeah,
Kind
people
of a preview.
people get very upset when the younger fighters talk about Valentina. Like Molly McCann got all kinds of hate for this, saying that she could, she'd take that fight again. Like, how dare you talk about her? Like, what are you
I was
supposed
gonna
to
say,
say?
yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you'd get smashed, or you'd get, like, you didn't even belong in the cage with her. And I disagree. I feel like everybody deserves a chance, and I feel like I don't just deserve a chance. I deserve a lot of credit for the fights that I've had.
Yeah. 3 finishes in the UFC. Do you know the company that you're with? Your 3-fight UFC knockout streak is tied with Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg for the longest by a female fighter. And I believe I think those two were the first two to start also their UFC careers with 3 finishes in a row. Like this is great stuff that you're doing here.
Let's keep it going.
Yes, why not? Let's break the record. Let's be all by ourselves. Now, birthday year is 1998.
Yes.
Which is just absurd to me. 1998. I was in the 10th grade.
What were you doing in 1998?
10th grade. I was a man by that point. You were getting born, and now here you are knocking people out with standing TKOs. I love a standing TKO. That's always a lot of fun. There's something about it. It's like the person is just so beat up that they can't even fall to the ground. So kudos.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, I want to play a fun little game with you, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Yes.
I actually stole this from our NBA team as well, where this summer they spoke to a lot of the rookies who are born around the same time as you, and they showed them iconic things from the 90s,
Oh boy.
and they wanted to know if they knew what these things were. Okay, so like I said, I was in 10th grade in 1998. Like I was 16 years old when you were born.
So you're gonna play things from the 90s, but I'm like late 90s.
Yeah, I know, but still, you're a 90s baby. All right.
All right.
It still counts. Corporate Jake, do we have this?
Yes. All right. Let's.
Okay, so I think they're going to show you photos from the 90s. These are the photos right here. Do you know what that is?
Ew, it's a VHS tape.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well done. A lot of the rookies didn't know this. Do you know what the thing that the tape is going into is called?
VCR.
Wow.
Woo, look at that.
2 for 2. I'm impressed. Okay, do you know what that is?
They're like slap bands, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're the wristbands you like snap on your wrist. I
That's
used
right.
to love those. Every time we
Okay.
go to
Are
Chuck E. Cheese.
those not a thing anymore?
I don't know. I think you could cut up a tape measure and get one.
That's true. When I was in elementary, they told me that if you did it too hard, you can cut your veins on your wrists, and that you shouldn't
That's
do
probably
it.
why they banned them. Because
I think it's BS, if I'm being honest. But anyway, do you know who that man is? Iconic 90s fighter.
I had it in my head. That's not Don Fry, right?
It is.
Oh, look
Wow.
at that! I actually
4
met him
for 4.
before.
Really? What
Yes.
was that like?
I met him when I was fighting in LFA,
Okay.
and yeah,
Wow. Was he nice?
he had a big cigar in his hand.
Yes. That is a man's man right there. You hear his voice? Incredible.
Very,
Like it's
yeah,
very damn.
Very deep, yeah.
Okay, so we're 4 for 4. What else do we got? Do you know what that is?
No.
You don't know what this
SD
is?
cards? No.
SD cards would be a very 2019 thing to say. No idea.
What is it?
It's a floppy disk.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you used to put things on those.
Hey, I at least got the thing about the
You know
computer.
what?
It goes with the computer,
I
right?
don't want to give you like a half point for that.
I get to have a point.
But you probably never used one of those before. Like
No, I've heard my dad has
you
used one
would,
before.
I'm sure Bucky
Pretty sure.
knows about a floppy disk, right? I mean, this is.
I've heard him
awesome
talk
stuff.
about, hey, honey, where's the floppy disk?
Do
Oh,
you know about this?
That's some sort of video game. No, I don't know what that is.
I believe this is a Tamagotchi.
I've heard that name too, but
Yeah.
I've never had one.
I think you would like almost, there was like a little egg, and then you would feed it, and then it would become a thing. Kids used to play with
Grows
this.
up. It's kind of
Yeah.
like one of the, oh, fur baby. Hey, that's Full House.
Wow, how do you know? So you're.
I thought you used to watch that.
It's a classic, right? Can you name all the people?
There's Jesse, and that's it.
That's Danny Tanner.
Danny, okay. And then
Well, she was actually just in the news. I think she might be in trouble with the law.
I saw that actually.
Yeah,
when I was
with her
sitting back
kids.
there. Yeah,
Isn't that
something-
crazy?
I didn't see what happened, but
Or getting her
Ooh.
kids in school.
I don't remember her name though.
No, I don't remember her name. I know her real name is
Start with
Lisa
a J?
Laughlin. Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky. That's
Yes.
right.
There it is. Uncle Jesse.
Jesse.
John Stamos in the middle. Now, do you know what that is?
That's a projector.
Man, we totally screwed up on this one.
My teachers
wanted
used to use this when I was in
embarrass
elementary school. Yeah, you're not
Really?
embarrassing me.
No, I mean,
Hey,
you're killing it.
I'm smart.
You
okay?
are smart. Much smarter than the NBA rookies, that's for sure. Do you know what that? Well, I mean,
It's like a Walkman.
yeah, Corporate Jake. It says Walkman on it. What's wrong?
Well, I
with you?
didn't even read that.
You didn't read it? It's right
I didn't
there.
read that, but I had the one where that was like a disc, like,
Oh,
like a
yes.
CD.
A CD.
Yeah.
A Discman. I guess that was.
It was
called.
still a Walkman.
Yeah.
But I had one of those.
And do you know who that is?
No.
You don't know who that is?
No, I recognize him from somewhere.
Steve Urkel?
Okay.
You remember him? You
No.
didn't watch that show? Family Matters? Classic.
Nope.
Lucky
I got
you
Full
remember
House,
Steve
all right?
Urkel?
Give me some.
Of course, yes.
Cut me some slack.
Actually, Full House is older than Steve Urkel.
I think I've seen a show or two, but I don't remember them.
The microphone's moving away from me. What about Fuller House? You ever watch that?
I think I've seen one or two episodes, but it's
Yeah.
not the same.
That was the reboot.
It's not the
Not as
same.
good. Do you know who that is?
No.
No? The greatest
Something to
hockey
do with
player
hockey.
of all time. Yeah. Well, NHL. No? The great
Nope.
one?
Nope.
No? Doesn't
No.
ring a bell?
No.
Edmonton Oilers?
Nope.
LA Kings?
Nope.
St. Louis Blues?
Nope.
New York Rangers? No. Wayne Gretzky?
Still no. I recognize that name.
Yeah, there he is. What about Corporate Jake? It says it on the thing. What's wrong with you guys?
I had a Nintendo 64
Okay, a little later.
a little later,
Yeah.
and a GameCube.
Okay.
So I had those two.
Do you know what that? I mean, it's right there. Sega Genesis. Good job.
I never had one of those though.
Who's to blame for this? Jordan?
No, it's me.
Way to
You
go.
can blame me.
Well, I mean, we're doing a guess what, and you're putting the thing. Can we go back to the Walkman for a second? Is it possible to go back to that photo?
Yes, we can.
Why is there a pack of cigarettes next to it?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking the guys.
Oh.
Do we have any idea what's going on?
I
over
have
there?
no idea what.
Why,
it's
is,
cigarette.
are you implying that we need to smoke? Do you know? Would you have known that that's a pack of cigarettes? Kent cigarettes?
Maybe that just came together as like a package because when you went out to walk your dog with the Pac-Man or with the Walkman, you kind of had to get your
The
cigarettes, out.
yeah. I hope you don't do that.
I don't.
No. If
you?
you have a dog? No, I don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't smoke
Then we're cool.
myself. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
But have you ever used a Walkman like that?
Not that kind.
Right.
I had one of the CDs.
Just the CD,
Yeah.
never with the
Never with the
cassette.
cassette, no.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, I don't know if we were counting. Were we counting back there? I feel like you got pretty much every single one except for.
I feel like I should get a prize.
Yeah. Did you ever see this clip of the rookies, the NBA rookies? They asked the
No,
NBA rookies at like
I haven't.
the media day, and they didn't know what any of these things were. And they're your age.
Huh.
I guess you're an old soul.
I've been told that before.
You have?
It keeps turning on me.
Yeah. Sorry.
I have been told that before.
Right here, there's a little thing that you can make it a little tighter. You see that right over there?
Yes.
Well done. We've got
Thank
nothing
you.
for you. No prizes or
Darn.
parting gifts for that, but
Darn.
I think you crushed it. I wanted to ask about the layoff and how soon you want to come back. So since you had a layoff, how soon do you want to come back? Probably not this year, right? That
I
would,
mean, we may be talking about December actually.
Really?
So, yeah.
that soon?
That's
December
soon.
14th?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Potentially. And if not December, either January or February.
So
But
that would be in less than 2 months. You're okay with that?
possibly. Yes. It just depends on who and we'll see. I have to talk to everybody. I haven't even gotten home to like sit down on my couch for like 5 minutes. So.
Sure. You want a bit of a break.
Maybe like a day.
Okay.
But that's it.
You're not going to take an extended period. You don't want to take an extended
No, I'm already planning on going back to the gym hopefully tomorrow. So
Okay.
I'd like to. I went and worked out yesterday, so that was nice.
Okay. Is there a part of you that wants to make up for lost time because you only got?
I don't feel like I lost time necessarily, just because like if I look at other fighters, they're like they purposefully take that much time off, and I'm like, well, man, I was kind of forced to take that much time off, and I was regretting it the whole time, but I feel like it all worked out for the good because that forced me to work on my metabolism and really helped me mentally a lot. So.
What do you mean by mentally?
Just mentally in terms of like having to be forced into not training with surgery, and it kind of gives you the this perspective of I shouldn't take training for granted. Like the next morning after this last fight, I woke up and I was like, wow, all I want to do is go to the gym, because this time last fight, all I was doing was getting ready to go in for an x-ray, and
Yeah.
I felt nothing like wanting to go into the gym. So to be able to wake up and feel like I could go and work out is great.
It's a gift.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It
We
really
take
is
it
a
for
gift,
granted.
and it's something that I think a lot of us fighters, you know, we go through and we fight, and then we're like, man, I just can't wait for a break, and I can't wait to just not do anything. But then you also think about, what about all the people that don't get to do something, you know?
Right.
So I kind of feel like we get a little selfish at times. So.
Yep. Was there one, when people fight, everyone goes online and talks, wow, Maycee looks so good. This guy looks so good. Was there one person that wrote about you or maybe even reached out to you? You're like, wow, this person gave me props. That felt really good.
Chael actually did the whole bad guy breakdown.
Yeah.
Or whatever he calls it. But,
On your fight.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd
And
he
he
say?
gave me a lot of credit. And,
About the fighting or the trash talking? Because he
I
likes
think
both.
a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, he gave me a lot of things that I watched it twice, and then we actually asked you for his number because I wanted to call him up, because I was like, you got one thing wrong, because he did that video and he was like, I think it was by accident that I was, where I was, or that I had said what I said about the youngest champion goal. And so I called him up and I'm like, that was the only thing you got wrong. Aside from that, I'm like, I'm honored to have you talk that way about me. And
Wow.
so he just gave me a lot of good compliments. He was saying something about my striking, being able to, not just throw one punch hard or this hard. It was like, my striking, my knees, my kicks, my elbows, and like it all played together. So to hear him talk about that was really neat. And to hear him give me that kind of credit, I look up to a lot of like the higher level fighters from Chael and DC and and Ben and like all of these guys, to hear them say such good things about me and about my fighting style is like, it's an honor.
Yeah. And Chael is a teammate of Paige's. So that must have, did you get in any shots when you
I
were
didn't.
talking?
I should have. I
Sent
should
a
have said it
message?
when I talked to him, but I think he knows what's up.
Yeah.
He knows what's up, and he knows that that's not a good fight for her. But at the same time, if he's a teammate of hers, he should support her.
Right.
I wouldn't want to give her any false hope, but yeah.
So is the prediction December 14th, Paige VanZant? Is that what we're predicting in Las Vegas?
That would be my goal and my prediction, but
That's
we'll
the
see.
dream.
That would be, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can give her a little more time to prepare. Give her like January, February if she needs that much time. But
Okay.
yeah.
Gosh, you're like the boogie woman coming after her. You want to rid the UFC of Paige VanZant.
Yeah, I do. Or yeah,
I'm just helping you out here with the lines.
I do. I mean, I would like to see her go. Not necessarily like to see her career end, but she said stuff about wanting to go to Bellator, and I'll be a good parting gift for her.
Okay. Well done. Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done. You are killing it. Really are. And it's amazing to see what you're doing at 21 years old. You're the second youngest fighter on the roster. Did you know that?
They told me when I went there in Boston, they were like, you're back to being the youngest. And then I heard that I was the second youngest. And
Well, according to our notes,
Which is-
Chase Hooper is currently the youngest, but he hasn't fought
that's
yet.
what I asked him.
He hasn't
Yeah,
fought
okay.
yet. So
So we're going to go with I'm still the youngest.
I guess
Chase you have to get a fight first before you can take
That's
that
right.
from me.
UFC 245 is his debut. So I guess until he fights, you're the youngest.
All right.
Won't last forever. And
okay.
you were ranked number 6. Right now, I'm going to put you at number 1 on the under 25.
Thank you.
Why not? Don't
Thank
tell AJ McKee that I said that.
I won't.
But, I think that you should at least move up. I don't remember who number 5 was, but it's a good point about Sean O'Malley. He has been inactive, and so you've been doing your thing, and it's been really impressive.
And I've been staying clean and out of being failed drug tests. So
That should count
I think
for something.
that should count for something.
All right, fair enough. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much to your father as well.
you.
Hope you guys enjoyed being at ESPN and keep doing your thing.
I have for sure. This is an incredible facility. Thank you.
Thank you. I built it actually.
Did you?
Yes, my
By your hands with your hand?
Yeah.
We're going
off
to call
my
you Bob the
shoulders.
Builder.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I appreciate it. There she is, Maycee Barber, the future. By the way, who gave us that nickname, the future?
The future, it kind of came from like the whole family,
Oh, your family gave it to you.
My whole family, yeah. It was
I
kind of
liked
like a decision off of all
Yeah,
of us.
and don't change. Like I see people saying, "Oh, you can't be the future."
You got to be the
present."
future. You got to be
No.
the now, the present.
Uriah
Yeah.
Faber is the California kid, and the guy's 40 years old.
I know. He's like
Just stick with
old
it.
looking kid. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
Just stick with it. You become the
sure.
champion. You say, guess what? I'm 40 years old champion. I'm the future. Guess
Exactly.
what? Yeah. What are you going to do about it? So don't,
like that.
Don't buy
That's
into
good.
people trying to change your nickname.
I won't.
All right. Maycee Barber, thank you very much. You could
you.
just walk. No one's going to actually, we're very no frills here. So
like
no one's actually, yeah, just like that. Slide away. There she goes. And there she is on our screen. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.